we're back. Not a boring Sunday at all. Singapore race, I don't really know much to say besides one, woke up just to get an hour delay, so that's sick. And then, we had a wacky start. But just to start out,
Dude,
race 1 to 10. What do you, we're moving Singapore up the ladder, right?
we gotta re-tier this bad boy. This race was got to be one of the most exciting weekends. And yeah, we had the race delay and like every safety car known to man came out this weekend. But I mean, virtual safety cars, real safety cars, like four of them, like crazy stuff happened. But like they got a full points finish. It was in Singapore. It was freaking sick. I'm enjoying this race. It's got to be in my top five of the season.
Yeah, no, definitely top five of the season, if not maybe even top three for me, just because of the
Top
fact that
three, yeah.
it's like, well, I mean, one, you're right. We had every safety car known to man for whatever reason, for just straight DNFs, for engine blowouts, for crashes, for
Latifi's,
puncture. Yeah, Latifi's,
George
the absolute
Russell's.
goat has to leave his mark before he leaves. It's like it was actually pretty wild to see, and off the back of it, it rained all in qualifying. We had the little dispute between Max was already low enough on fuel and needed to save fuel, so he had to abort his like one push lap for pole, and then that kind of ruins it for him, and he started in P8 today, and it's like I don't know, Singapore it was wild today. It was
Y-
absolutely disgusting today.
Yeah, it was disgusting in the best way possible. But I have a question for you, Tyler. Um, just seeing how Max performed, like he started P8 and finished what, P7 or P7, I
P7.
think.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
finished P7.
but
Yeah.
he struggled all day. So even if he had a good qualifying, like, do you think he would have struggled the same, or do you think
I'm
it was just
telling you,
him?
man, I think the qualifying would have helped. Like if he was in pole, I mean, obviously I can't sit here and say like
Do
if
you
he
think he was
qualified
trying too
pole.
hard?
Uh no, I think he was trying. Or no, actually like what you're saying. Yeah, I do think he was trying a little bit too hard. I mean, you saw him trying to get the jumps off safety cars and putting Norris in danger. You see him.
Yeah, that was.
I think this is the only race we've seen Max just overshoot something like more than once.
Yeah, yeah. He had to
It,
go in that run out a couple times. And I mean, even Lewis struggled here. Like we saw Lewis go into the barrier. Not as bad as Yuki did later, but like but yeah, like man, it's definitely a tough track. It was the conditions like you said, it was raining, so we had intermediates for the majority of the race and then slicks at the end, but like dude, yeah.
yeah, it was
I
basically
like the
who can
race
make their intermediates last the longest, basically. But
for sure.
no,
And
no, no.
Checo did that.
Dude, I think Lando and Checo made him last for damn near half the race, like 35, 36 laps. It was actually like pretty cool to see, even though it almost helped him. Like stating out on the intermediates was almost better because by the time all the tread was away, from all the wet spots, the track was drying up, and those intermediates turn into slicks when you have no tread on them, and you can keep up the temperature now. So it's like it was a perfect tire to go the distance with. But I mean,
Yeah.
speaking of Max, does this just reassure and reaffirm how I think Max just always has a little bit of a struggle on city circuits?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we've seen it like maybe I yeah, Max is always if he's gonna have a bad weekend, it's definitely gonna be a city circuit and like Checo, dude. Checo's the king of the city circuit.
Yeah, apparently the dude just refuses to lose at the. I'm pretty sure he won Baku right this year too. I'm
Um,
almost
I'm
certain.
pretty sure he did, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
like
pretty
that.
sure he did.
That's one of his other race wins. It's
And
like,
didn't he win Monaco?
yeah, I think he did win Monaco.
Yeah, I'm
Maybe?
pretty sure he won Monaco. And he should have won in Saudi Arabia, but then he got screwed over with the
No,
with
I think
something. I forgot what it was.
Max might have won Monaco. Either way, it was a Red Bull, but
Let
it's
me look
like
it up.
it's like this race definitely goes in the top 5 or top 3 for me because of just everything that happened. I mean,
Yeah, Checo won Monaco.
oh yeah, then yeah, he's the king of city circuits. I now believe that he's the king of city circuits, 100%.
Yeah,
Because
no one city
I'm looking
circuits the
at the
way he does.
finals. Yeah, I'm looking at the final. You had Perez in P1, you had Leclerc P2, and Sainz P3, which honestly is very good for Ferrari. We had the
Oh
McLarens
yeah.
finish, but what we had one, two, three, four, five, six people out today. We had two entire teams out today with Williams and Alpine. We had Zhou Guan Yu, of course, which is the contract. It's the contract curse now. You sign a new deal, and then the next race is like the worst race of your career. It happened to
Well, yeah, he got
Carlos.
goatee feed.
Oh yeah, he did 100% get goatee feed, like for no reason at all.
Yeah, that was wild. Like, and that goes to what we've been saying though. Like, Joe, like the fact that it took him so long to get him a contract, like a lot of the times he's just had some bad luck, a bad run of it, and when you go to pass Latifi, you gotta, I guess, double check your mirrors because you don't know where that guy's coming from.
You got to double check your mirrors. You got to give him a grace area. You got to give him a, like it's like, dude, you almost you got to get this guy off the track. And I'm not meaning that and like I hate Nicholas Latifi way, but Jesus Christ, man, you have the audience literally asking, "What are you doing?" Like there is no justification of what you're doing, bro. Everyone else is driving the same track, not doing that dumb shit.
Yeah, that was. I mean, this was a race, dude. This was a crazy race. Like the start of it. I gotta say this might be Checo's best performance. The commentator said it as well, and like,
Oh, it was
dude,
dominant.
yeah. So him and Leclerc, they had a great. They both were like matched on reaction time at the start, but then somehow Checo just was able to keep pushing, and he had the quickest acceleration, took the first
That
corner, and that
fucking
was
Red Bull man's a rocket.
I mean, yeah, it was the Red Bull, but also like I don't know what Leclerc was doing, but his car was like it looked like a snail coming off the line.
Yeah, it's almost like a. I'm not going to compare it as bad as Lando's last start where he went immediately into anti-stall, but there was like it almost looked like a bit of hesitation. Like you're right though, the first 10 or so feet they were perfect off the start. They were neck and neck going into the first turn, but right after those first 10, 15 feet, it's like Perez had all the traction in the world on his tires and just everything caught up and just catapulted him in a straight line as fast as possible. And I just firmly believe that Red Bull has probably the best acceleration time out of the entire grid, so that also helped. But no, his
Yeah,
start was masterful. It was
wicked
perfect.
start, and then Max had a horrible start. He dropped from eighth to 12th place right off rip, and then he's going wheel to wheel with Magnussen.
He just wanted to give
Like,
himself a little challenge, man.
yeah, I mean, he worked hard. He worked really hard this weekend just to finish one position ahead of where he started.
I was about to say, yeah, literally worked pretty hard, but almost at times too hard.
Yeah, I mean, the start was awesome, and then Alex Albon, he went off the track. He went to the run out once. Uh, that was all good, and I think the first safety car was with the Latifi crash where he just comes across the track in the Joe's car, and then DNFs. Joe crashes out, pulls off into the run out, and then they have to do I think a real safety car. Latifi has a puncture, brings the car in the pits, and then la la la. Oh, can't fix your car. It's done. DNF.
Yeah, they literally look like they were like, "Oh yeah, we'll fix the car. We changed the wing. We're gonna replace the back tire and this, that, and the other." And like they go to put on the tire and it's wobbling all over the place. And finally, you just see the pit guy just go like, "Just cut him loose, cut it." It's like just put him out of his misery. Just put, he's just waving his hand frantically, and he's like, "Yeah, that's a DNF, bud. That's we're just gonna wear that one. It's easy to fall on our sword now. What we got 4 races left or something like that, 5 races left.
Yeah, let's
Like,
just do minimal damage to the car, get him out
yeah,
safely.
let's keep your price tag low before you dip out of the team. That was
Um, but yeah, so we had that, and then one of the biggest stories I think from this race weekend is Alpine, dude. Their car struggled
yeah, I'm
majorly.
not gonna lie, they crashed and
They,
burned.
they literally it seemed like they had heating issues like the whole time. It was Alonso was the first one. You see him just DNF and you were like, "What happened? Where's Alonso at?"
Yeah, I'm
It's like,
sitting here.
yeah,
I'm like, what the hell? What happened? He very quietly DNF'd.
car broke down. I mean, I think he DNF'd like right around
Engine
post
off.
Latifi Joe, and then I think around the same time that I don't know Albin went off the track a little bit later. Like into the
Yeah, Albon was
barrier.
getting squirrely on lap one, dude.
Yeah, he had a struggle bus weekend.
Yeah, which that just kind of sucks. But you know, you didn't race the last races. You theoretically had 3 weeks off because you had appendicitis. Which you know, shout out to the boy. That sucks. But
Yeah,
like, yeah, the return race to one double DNF with your team and like kind of not be comfortable the entire weekend. Yeah, that just sucks, bro. Sorry about it.
I gotta say this leaves me with one question, and that's just how good is Nick DeVries?
I mean, with the shit that's going on now, bro, he could be AlphaTauri good.
It could be AlphaTauri good.
He could be. Although I would still love it. I would still ultimately love it if Nick DeFries just straight up took Latifi's spot and it was Albon and DeFries. I think that would be very good for Williams. But I'm not going to sit here and be like, hey, DeFries, if you have a better offer somewhere, don't take it. Just stay with Williams. Yes, of course, take the better offer, dude. Like, I don't like get in the AlphaTauri, and maybe it'll like wake up the midness from AlphaTauri because besides Gasly today, which Gasly was just kind of he did what he could. I mean, Yuki was looking for someone to be mad at to DNF in his car,
Even though he's the one that did he crashed it. He drove
dude.
it into the wall.
He just drove it into. He committed too hard of the turn, locked up, couldn't save it, and just boop drove it into the
Dude,
wall.
you
What do you
just
want to
think
do?
about how hard he was committing, because that was the same corner I think that Hamilton went off, and Hamilton was he was able to save it a little bit.
Yeah,
Oh,
he
let's
barely tapped. Yeah.
Yeah, and then he comes back in the track right in front of Max. So we have Max and Lando battling, and then Lewis is way ahead. Like I don't know, not way ahead, a couple positions ahead. He overcommits, locks up, slides gently, taps the wall. A little bit of front wing damage, not too bad. Pulls back out. Jumps right in between Lando and Max. And now there Max is stuck behind him. Lando's like, "Thank you, I needed that space. I was the pressure for the last 4 or 5 laps from this guy."
Yeah, no, literally, like it was a weird perfect case scenario because Lando, like, obviously the McLarens finished 4-5, which we're gonna get into those implications here in a little bit because I do want to talk about that. But McLaren was 4-5 at the time. Danny Rick was behind Vettel and all that little pack of like, I think it was Verstappen fighting Vettel, and then both of them were behind. Actually, no, it was Verstappen gaining on Lando, and both of them were behind. And Hamilton's a little bit ahead as well.
Uh huh.
Hamilton wrecks, rejoins the track, like you said. He rejoins right behind Lando in front of Max, taking the pressure off of Lando to where he can just drive now. And Hamilton inherently holds up Max because now he's got a floppy front wing and it's dragging
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yep.
And so it's like it took all the pressure off McLaren, but that's also going back to the Alonso DNF. How many engines would this be for Alpine? How many engines and power units has Alpine gone through this year? Because remember, there was
It's
a stretch where it seemed like 4 races in
the
a
first
row.
3 races.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like they're changing something on Alonso's car, or like he took like 4 engine units within like 6 races.
I want to
Like,
guess for Alonso, he's on engine number 6. I don't know. This is my guess. And then for the team in general, they got to be getting close to 10
dude, they
engines.
literally have to be approaching double digits with the amount of engine failures they've had. Like
Yeah. And
both
then
cars, identical problems today.
what's his name? Midcon. He had another overheating problem
Yeah,
too.
we
So
literally checked in on him right before the issue. We're like, "Oh yeah, where's Midcon? Oh, he's fourth. He's out of his realm. He is subpar mid. He is like not even in his little 8 to 12 bubble. He's in 14th, and what a lap later, we see a plume of smoke come out of his car.
yeah, I was like,
Like
oh,
that is not good looks for Alpine, considering going back to McLaren, them boys in the papaya finished 4-5 today.
they did, dude. They needed that, and I think that came down to one. Uh, when Lewis came in, he gave Lando a little bit of breathing
Yeah,
room there,
that just was
and
awesome.
then with that other Alpine DNF, I think that caused a full safety car to come out, and at this point, a lot of cars were pitting for slick tires.
Yeah,
Because remember they were racing on intermediates the whole time. Then we
yep.
get the pits for those, and then a safety car comes out. The whole grid except for the two McLaren drivers have pitted for slicks, so they get a cheap pit stop. They get to maintain their front of the pack spot. Daniel Rick was able to jump like he was up 11
What? Yeah,
positions today.
literally. Yeah, he started in what P17 today and finished P5 today, and because of that situation with the safety car and them staying like I think I think their plan said in the radio message was, "Hey, we're making the intermediates last as long as possible." So them getting that bailout and staying out and being good on the intermediates just for one more safety car to come not even a couple laps later, like it set up perfectly for them. Obviously, it was a huge roll of the dice because it could have been awesome, it could have been bad. We could have seen Lando just fall from grace and slowly drop down from everyone else. But it ended up being very literally probably the best strategy today is make the intermediates last as long as possible.
Yeah, McLaren came out looking like some legends, honestly. And teams that didn't look like legends, we were definitely down on Haas coming into this weekend. One of our friends was saying like, "Oh, you guys aren't rooting for the underdog," but they have been disappointing, and this weekend
It
kind of it was really disappointing. And to top it off, they just got overtaken in the constructors by Aston
Yeah, by
Martin.
freaking crashed copy pasta Martin, Aston Martin, crashed Martin, whatever you want to call them. Like it's that's why it's unexciting because you have Magnussen starting at P9, you have Schumacher starting at P13. It's unexciting because they are a good team. They are a team with a good car. They are a team with a little bit of hype now that they got Mazepin out. They have legit sponsors. They have some sort of consistency now.
I
Consistently
mean,
mid, yes, but
I think it goes back to what we said, and their biggest issues are they aren't improving on the car. They don't upgrade the car. They just let it stay where it is.
they think, which they could be right. Listen, I'm not. I'm just sitting in my fucking armchair on a laptop. I don't know shit about this at all. But I understand where Gunther's coming from. Of no, we're not going to upgrade the car until we extract all the potential of the current parts that's on it now. I get that, but you can only do that for so long while the
There's a
rest of the
limiting
fucking
factor.
grid. Yeah, you literally you just put a ceiling on your drivers and it isn't that high. Like, what if the secret is, oh, to make my driver feel comfortable, let's do this upgrade. Oh, what do you know? He's going way faster. Like, that could be the answer. But since we're stuck on, no, we don't upgrade the car until we extract all the potential it currently has. It's like, I mean, I hate to break it to you, man, but with Mick and Magnussen right now, it's not a super exciting lineup, and I don't think they're getting the potential out of that car. And then you want to go and sign Hulkenberg? Get out of here.
Get out of here, dude. I was excited for a little bit. It looked like Mick was going to become like some kind of points fighting badass for Haas, and then he's kind of tapered off a little bit. So
I
I'm
mean, we said
disappointed
it,
in that.
bro.
But
We wanted to see his villain arc.
I'm here for the villain era. And Leclerc, dude. Well, we'll get into that in a little bit. But like, yeah, we had the Haas shenanigans of them not doing too well, and now they dropped a place in constructors. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I think also he did have a bad bit of luck. Also, we had George crashed into him at the end, came across the track doing a
I
Latifi, and
mean, yeah. And then George does the common George Russell thing of he just turned into me, man.
no,
It's
you
like
they were like George, you turned into him.
he's like, "Oh, for real? Oh, okay, yeah." Like, dude, it's I think that's like the automatic button of George Russell. I don't know what he's doing. He just turned into me. I love George Russell, but that shit. He does that shit all the time. It's so
Every
fun.
time, dude.
It is so funny. But no, I
It's
mean,
like
yeah, that's just unfortunate.
George saying that is like when Lewis would be like, "My tires are done," and then put down a fastest lap right after he says that.
There's just no grip. Or what was it today? In the future, you got to listen to me. This is totally not right, man. What the hell?
You must listen to my calls.
And then, Samir, I beg of you, like, dude, like, and then Lewis says that quote. He goes, "Man, you got to listen to me in the future. This, that, and the other." And not 5 laps later, just overdoes it, uses the escape road, and he goes, "Yeah, I bottled that one. That's totally my bad. I screwed up big time right there." I'm like, okay, well, yeah, at least you wear it, but it's like, dude, it's we hear you. Everyone's got the same goal. I'm pretty sure everyone at Mercedes is very capable of the winning feeling as well. You know, they are 8-time constructor champions. Like they get it. They don't.
Hmm. Now, I think we got two segments I want to do first, or actually three I want to do, and first of them has got to be obviously Checo time, and
Oh
it's like,
yeah.
dude, how good was he today?
I mean, it sucks that most of it got overshadowed and his spotlight got overshadowed about just the absolute shenanigans that was happening on the track around him. But I mean, he led the Grand Prix every single lap. He was dominant, even in his early on defense against Leclerc, and kind of later on in the race when Leclerc was really on him. Which, for whatever reason, it took them to the last 15 minutes of the race to throw on DRS. So I don't know what that was about, but like his defense was great. The leading was great. His obviously pit stop windows were perfect. His tire management was perfect. It was an overall dominant race day, which sucks for Leclerc even more because I think most of Red Bull's wins have come from second place from pole. Like
Yeah,
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 it sucks, but Sergio definitely put on a masterclass on how you drive that. I mean, you said it earlier, man. He's the king of city circuits.
yeah. City circuit, tire management, race pace, like he had it all. Like the only thing he didn't get was the fastest lap because we voted him driver of the day. He won
Yeah,
driver of the day.
he had the
He could have had,
fastest lap for a couple of them. He was just
but
trading
then
back and forth. Yeah,
yeah, but George took the soft tires and he was just putting down fastest laps
yeah. I mean,
just to keep the points out, which that's good. Good teamwork, you know. You gotta do what you gotta do. Keep your team in the fight, even though there's no way they're gonna get Red Bull points. But
I think that's so weird how if you're out of the top 10, it's a rule that I definitely don't mind it. I just think it's weird how they ruled it. Like if you're out of the top 10 but get the fastest lap, the point doesn't get awarded to you, but you take away the point from being on the table. That's
yeah, that's interesting.
it's weird. It's weird, but if you're within the top 10, the point does get awarded to you. So it's like I totally see how it backs the rule of like only top 10 finishers get any sort of points, which is fair. I like it. That's fine. There's no exception to the rule, but it is weird how you have the option to take away that extra point on the table from anyone in the top 10, but also not get it yourself.
So maybe it should only be top 10 guys that can do fastest lap. I don't know.
I don't
But then
know.
how do you
It's
know you're
weird.
gonna
Yeah,
finish top? Yeah.
it's weird.
Yeah.
It's a weird little like. I want to know what the thought process was behind the ruling. Hey, fastest lap should get an extra point. Everyone in the room, yeah, that sounds good. But what if he's not in top 10?
No point.
No point. No point. Like,
Yeah, but
it's weird. It was weird.
yeah. Checo, he went out, he showed out at the end of the race. It looked like Ferrari just gave up.
Yeah, they were just
And
like, all right, 2-3's good enough.
that's something I want to talk about is like what was up with that? Like that Red Bull car is so freaking fast in the straights that like even with DRS like you couldn't even catch them. And it's been like that for a while now. But like yeah, just what happened, dude? At a certain point, I guess Leclerc kind of bottled it, tried to oversend a little bit, and got lost some time on that, and then it just looked like he just dropped back and just
Well,
rolled over.
I have a little bit of a theory of like I think we were meant to see this starting to happen because of how many times Ferraris had to focus on durability and reliability. They've
Hmm.
foregoed all that effort and focus into doing that than rather making their car just a
Car
tad bit
faster.
faster.
Yeah.
Like if they had the reliability that Red Bull had, I mean, who's to say? Because Ferrari's top speed is higher than Red Bull's, but Red Bull gets there so much quicker. They like it seems with that
Hmm.
Red Bull next to the Ferrari, it seems like the Ferrari has way less acceleration time or way more acceleration time than the Red Bull. Like
Yeah.
it's I think that it's as simple as that because you saw them, they would get really close in the chicanes. They would come out of the hairpins pretty on each other's asses, and then
And
with
then,
the moment we
boop.
get to the straight, even in just the first 20 feet of them getting on the straight, the acceleration little gap Sergio already made from Leclerc can only catch up so far because once his car gets up there, he can catch him, but it takes so much longer for him to
And that
get up there.
straight was really short here. It was a
Yeah,
short
it
straight.
was, and it was a
You know,
straight that lead into like a hard right that you could still use DRS on, which was weird.
it makes me think that after a while they kind of just gave up literally on trying to get that first place because they realized they didn't have the pace to do it.
Yeah,
And instead of risking the race to crash trying to get first, they might have just went and said, "Ah, just take it easy, just chill." But then what I don't understand is once they hear the news that Checo was going to get investigated after the race for some safety car
I would have put the
issues.
afterburners on.
Yeah, why weren't they pushing at that point? They just kind of let him keep building a gap
I
to the
don't
point
know.
where like if he got a 5-second penalty, he's still going to get first, you
Because
know?
even like you said, yeah, he had a what 6 7 second gap, something like that.
Yeah, but yeah, I guess you can't close a second gap in a lap or two. So I don't know. I don't
Yeah,
know, man.
man, I know, dude. I'm looking at some of these Twitter tweets coming out right now. Uh, I don't know, man. I think, man, I know it took literally moving heaven and earth with safety cars today, but P16 to P5 for Danny Rick is a good look.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta think 6 of those are people DN or
I
not all
know,
6 of
I
them,
know,
but
I
like
know, I know.
4 of them are DNFs, and then strategy was like the main contributor, and that's freaking awesome, dude. Like, I'm happy to see him finishing so high. And honestly, you just set up for the perfect transition, which is Danny Rick talk. And what the hell is going on? Why is he not under a contract yet?
Brother, it his talks get super loud for a week and then go silent for a week. And then his
Yeah.
talks come back of, oh, maybe he's doing this, and then it goes silent. But
You know what I hate?
go for it.
The freaking reserve driver talks.
Uh, and I'm thankful for Lewis that when asked on the spot right next to him, he said, "No, I don't think he should be a reserve driver. He belongs on the track." I hear that and I thank him for that because I agree, but I do even if it is with Mercedes. If it dude, if it's a reserve driver for Mercedes, it's almost arguably worse because those positions are locked up.
Lockdown.
You like you there's no
They're locked
way.
up like this podcast.
Oh man, you did
They're
it.
locked up like Max Verstappen today on track.
Yeah, like 4 times.
We didn't even
But
talk about that. Max freaking turned his tires into Legos locking up so hard.
dude, you were right today. You're right. He just tried a little bit too hard. We all know, dude. I don't think anybody under the sun doubted that he could win that race from P8 from starting there.
Oh yeah, I
He
thought he
just
was
needed
gonna
to
win it.
get it under control. That's it.
But you called it. You're the one that called it, saying that he was gonna have some unfortunate event, and guess what? He had a couple.
I did say.
He had the qualifying shenanigans with the team, and then he had his own driver mistakes today.
I did, in fact, say that Red Bull will have something happen. Maybe not something catastrophe, but it's going to be Max's car. And what did we see? Max had every struggle in the world, and freaking Sergio is completely dominant, which I've noticed a pattern now. Every time Max is just, it feels like one thing after another with Max is happening, which is rare. It's only happened like 2 or 3 times. Sergio wins. He's got no other pressure to like wait for a call or wait for that. He can just drive. Sergio has won every time. Max has like either almost been close to DNF or dropped dramatically down like the the timetable to like build himself back up. He's won every time.
Yeah, and that's why they have like one of the best driver lineups because as soon as their number one guy falls, like the number two guy's right there to pick up the pieces and get in the mix.
Yeah, I would literally say them and Mercedes. I want to say Ferrari, but none of them can just fucking drive. They have to pay attention to 17 other problems that are happening on the radio. And they also have to pick strategy on fly because the engineer's going, "What do?
What
What?"
do?
Like, question?
Yeah, Carlos is like, I think it's almost time for slicks. I was like, man, is Ferrari about to screw up their tires? I'm actually impressed that they didn't have any mistakes this weekend,
I
and
know they stayed on plan A.
the only mistakes really were Leclerc himself. Like he had, it was a wet, slick track, and he had some corrections he had to make, and then coming in for that pit stop, he overshot his stopping point, which
Yeah,
and that's a bummer, but that's on him. That's on the team. So uh, yeah, he had some mistakes. It wasn't his best weekend. And honestly, for him, you got to be happy looking at Max because this is the first weekend in a long time that Max looked like a normal driver and not like a freak of nature.
yeah, no, he looked human this weekend.
Yeah,
He literally, but I mean, it takes a city circuit at night while raining to stop this man.
yeah.
Like
You
that
have to
that's
give
the
him the
only other
literal,
stat.
no, and the literal word, and then not, and he had a bad, starting grid position, so he knew he had to push harder. Like he had to have like this, the planets had to align for him to have a bad weekend.
That's what I'm saying. Like it's like all that makes total sense, and he looked like he was human this weekend, but it took every freaking bad scenario under the sun for a race weekend to happen for him to be like, okay, it's just too much. Like
Yeah.
it's just it,
Yeah.
it's kind of incredible. But I mean, like let's see the final.
Just take a weekend off, champ. You're gonna get in the next two races
Just
anyways.
take a weekend off, champ. Let's see. The final implications of today's race. We had 6 total DNFs with Yuki Tsunoda out, Esteban Ocon out, Midcon, Alex Albon
Oh,
out, Alonso out, Latifi out, shocker, and then Zhou Guanyu out. That's. I mean, that's literally. We only had 14 drivers left on the grid, and shout out Mr. George Russell coming in 14th. I think this might be his worst Mercedes start ever. But I mean, that's
finish
a finish. That's true. His worst
and
finish
start. He
ever.
started from the back
Yeah,
with
he did
the
start from
engine,
back. Yeah,
and he started in 11th before the penalty. So
yeah. But let's see the final. Let's see. We had Sergio winning the Singapore GP. We had Leclerc and Sainz coming in second and third, which is great for Ferrari. We had the McLaren boys fourth and fifth with Norris and Ricardo. Great. We were gonna have a sixth and seventh Aston Martin, but of course Max Verstappen comes in at the last possible second, passes Vettel. So we had Stroll at sixth, Verstappen at seventh, Vettel at
Vettel at
eighth,
8th.
Hamilton at ninth, and Gasly at 10th. Which let's see where did Gasly start? He started at seventh. We had some. I don't know. Maybe he could have held that a little bit more, but Gasly, followed by
Yeah,
Bottas, both Haas's with Magnussen and Schumacher, and then Russell to round it out because we literally only had 14 people. But I'm looking at the standings, and I'm gonna need you to break some of these down by numbers because we've got a little bit of spiciness happening now.
yeah. So Checo closes the window on Leclerc quite a bit. He's only 2 points behind Leclerc for second, and then there was a little bit of a close on the gap to Verstappen. So now they're almost just 100 points behind Verstappen for second.
Yeah, almost.
104 to be exact, but geez, like they're almost sub 100 though. So if Verstappen keeps having shitty weekends and Leclerc can do something, maybe they'll catch up.
I
It's not
mean,
out of the
maybe
question yet.
just pray the next race it's raining and it's at night.
And it's on a street circuit, and we have a fuel issue in qualifying.
Oh
Yeah.
no, dude.
Uh, and then and hope there's enough safety cars to keep you in the fight for first place also. But
Yeah.
that's enough of that. Carlos is catching up to George Russell. George Russell still has fourth place in the standings, and then Carlos is 1 point behind him. Hamilton's closing the door on that, catching up 170, and then Lando freaking Norris, dude, this guy is phenomenal, 100 points. Uh, and then after him is Ocon, 66 points, and then the rest, blah blah, not that exciting, but yeah, Max obviously is probably gonna win it.
Norris, I mean, yeah, dude. I will say this: Norris getting that McLaren to a P7 and 100 points actually is quite impressive. I'm not
That's
even
what
gonna
I'm
lie.
saying. That's what I'm saying.
Like that's pretty impressive.
I would like to see. I need to see Leclerc finish second in this year. Like he really needs to do that. Like I feel like his confidence is getting shot. Like especially when you have these weekends where like it's you and the leader. You're the only ones. No one's there to challenge you, and you cannot catch him on DRS. Like how much does that have to like
Yeah,
hurt your mental?
the DRS just you don't even feel it working. Like that's behind one of these Red Bulls. I mean, yeah. I mean, I think everyone in Ferrari. I think Carlos Sainz is getting slept on with the mental stuff, and then Leclerc is. They've dealt. I I can't
They've had a
even begin
season,
to,
man.
dude. I can't even begin to put in words. I want to know how many Ferrari episodes of Drive to Survive we're gonna get next year.
It might just be a season.
It might
They're
just
just
be
like
the.
they're like just follow Ferrari for the rest of the shit.
Oh
The
man,
story
dude.
writes itself.
It like, but you're right. We have spiciness with. There's a battle for P2 with
Battle for
Sergio and Leclerc.
P4.
Battle for Yeah, battle for P4 with Sainz and Russell, literally separated by a point. And then there's a little dip off and whatever. But
Yeah, there's a couple dips. And then constructors, we got Red Bull, obviously first place. They're the best. Da, da, da,
yeah,
da, da. They're up, you know,
a
over.
hundred
They've
and
cleared.
thirty
They're like
points, something like that.
yeah, 130 points basically ahead. Then you got Ferrari, and then they were able to pull a bit of a gap today. Mercedes was closing in on them, but
Yeah,
with that 2-3 finish, and then George Russell out of the points, and Lewis is in P8 or something or nine.
yeah,
That didn't help them much. That's barely in the points. So Ferrari's they're securing their P2. We need to see more of that. And then the big news of this weekend is McLaren jumps Alpine for P4 barely. They're 4 points up, so they need to keep up this momentum if they want to hold that and not slide again this season. And
yeah.
then
They need to split the Alpines at the very least.
at the very least, yeah. And then and if they want some security, they need to just have some good finishes like this weekend.
Yeah. Although it took 6 DNFs, 4 safety cars, and like 14 pit stops to do it, but
Yeah.
and just happened to pick the right strategy. But like it
And then
that
the other story from this is Aston Martin jumps Haas.
oh, which brings me to my point. Like I'm not wrong when I'm sitting here saying that
Oh,
Haas is
and
just unexciting.
Haas is about to slide again because
Oh
AlphaTauri's
my
tied
God,
with
they're
them right
tied.
now.
You're
They're
right. They're
tied
tied.
with 34 points apiece. So Haas could very easily finish P9, and all that hype that they had at the start of the season with the amazing start is all gone.
Dude, that would hurt so bad.
Like P7 finish this season, like you're doing something. If you finish P9, like
The bubble from 9 to 8 or from 9 to 7 is pretty interesting. And then Alfa Romeo with more of these freaking DNFs on Zhou Guan Yu or VB. I mean, the whole bubble from 9 to 6 could pop anytime. They're only separated by 20 point window.
yeah, yeah. I mean, but with the Calibre team, like 20 points is quite significant.
Oh,
It's not like
no, it
they're gonna
is.
get race wins.
No, it's literally like they're going to be battling for who can get the P10 to P6
Eight,
slots. Or
6,
like,
yeah.
yeah, like
I mean, getting those like 7, 8, and 9, they're separated by 3 points, so that's exciting. Like
yeah, so
that's a more
those
close
are
fight.
literally
But
separated by 3 points. And then, like I said, the Alfa Romeo one's only interesting because the more DNFs they have, the more they give Haas and
they're
AlphaTauri
giving up
and
points,
Aston
yeah.
Martin, especially with Aston Martin, could have been a sixth and seventh today. Like that would have been even bigger for Alfa Romeo for
Yeah,
that gap to get closed.
if they had that finish, yeah, you're right. You're right.
So that bubble from 6 to 9 is actually a little bit interesting, and obviously the battle for P4. So it's literally you have your top 3 podiums, a battle for P4, and then everyone else besides 10th is battling for a possible P6.
Yeah. Well, uh yeah, man, that was an exciting race. We're still waiting to see what happens with Sergio Perez. You got a
Yeah, I
little
know. I've been like checking Twitter like religiously back and forth to see if we got any updates.
is it here yet? Is it here yet?
I'm looking.
Uh
They're waiting for Perez decision and Singapore reaction. There's a Twitter space on right now. I'm looking at.
Yeah, I saw that also, but I mean, I guess we'll find out later. But as of right now, Checo's the race winner, and I hope it stays that way.
Yeah, I hope it stays that way too. The dude was just flat out dominant, so I can't even be mad at it. Even if he, I don't even know exactly what the safety car infringement was. I don't know what he was doing.
Maybe it was when he tried to pull up next to them, was like, "Yo, speed
He
this
goes,
up,
"Get on with it, man. Find a higher
come on."
gear."
Yeah.
Yeah,
Savage.
well, that was
That's
episode
my driver of
39.
the day. Yeah,
That
episode
yeah,
39.
Sergio definitely deserves the driver of the day for that. Although I did
Hats off, man.
overshadow like had
Oh, we didn't say this yet, dude. We need to give Stroll his props, dude.
oh, the wet weather god.
The wet weather goat. He did great. He did really, really good and finished ahead of Max. So good job.
Yeah, that's a win in my book, especially
That's a win.
that is definitely a win, especially in the wet. But yeah, episode 39, Singapore GP recap. Um, Make sure to hit us up on Twitter at TLUPF1. Make sure to hit our Instagram, TLUP.F1. Chris is a beautiful human being. We're on Anchor.fm. And yeah, literally just go download us anywhere you're able to download any product ever. How about that?
How about them apples? And yeah, we'll be back for episode 40. We got another race weekend popping up. We're gonna have
Yeah,
the
hang on.
Japanese
Where?
Grand Prix,
Oh, let's
Suzuka.
go.
It's another
We did.
track we haven't been to in a while.
Yeah, we didn't get to race Japan last year. So yeah,
Yeah,
because Red Bull did that kick-ass white livery, which I hope they bring back, and we never got to see it in Japan. But yeah, dude, that no, I'm stoked now. Is this next weekend or do we have a
next
week off?
weekend. Yeah, no,
Oh,
it's
let's
coming up.
go. Let's
Yeah,
go. All right, sweet. We're back for race week next weekend. But until then, y'all have a good one and we will catch you later.
later.